Hello, there's a lot to unpack from the weekend. Starting off with what ought to seem to be good news. For springtime air travelers, the paying of TSA workers starting this week means many more are likely to show up for work and may cut into the huge wait times that led to changing flight reservations chaos. It will take several days to sort itself out. There's a lot of spring break and Easter time traveling with all of this. In terms of numbers, Saturday there was more than 3,000 No King protests across the U.S. That means some were in small towns and even Republican-leaning areas and big cities. There's no way to really estimate how many people turned out for the marches and rallies, but it's probably safe to say it was in the millions. As Congress is out of Washington, President Trump is back and forth to Washington and Mar-a-Lago. He's sending thousands of U.S. troops to the Middle East, a way to put pressure on Iran to settle. And what does he want to settle for? Well, consider was that Israel was planning an attack on Iran's nuclear ambitions. President Trump maybe thinks that's a good idea. However, he has said several times over the weekend that what he's concerned about is oil, and the U.S. being able to control as much of it as possible. This is not a secret, by the way. The short invasion of Venezuela in January put the U.S. in charge of facilities there, basically to dole out tankers who want to play ball with the United States. However, the Venezuelan oil industry is so dilapidated its output is minimal for the time being. And then came the opportunity to go after Iran and try to control oil shipments there. Republicans like Senator Tom Cotton on Fox News Sunday, sticking to the original Trump rationale for getting involved.
Here, despite the lies from the media and the Democratic Party, that what President Trump said on the very first day of this campaign. We're going to destroy their missiles, their missile launchers, their drones, sink their Navy, destroy their Air Force. We're going to, again, set back their nuclear program. Every briefing I get, and I get briefed or have a phone call or have a meeting with administration officials almost every single day, says that our military operation is on time or ahead of schedule for every single line of effort.
Israel would certainly be happy with that outcome, but the president has turned his attention to oil supplies. Politically, that might play better here in the United States. In case he needs to order any kind of invasion, thousands of U.S. troops are being sent to the Middle East. Democrats accuse the president of masking his real aims, controlling oil supplies. On NBC's Meet the Press, Democratic Senator Cory Booker.
And now with over $25 billion that has been spent on the war, over 300 people injured, 13 Americans who've lost their lives. This president is pushing us further and further into a conflict with no foreseeable off-ramp and thousands of more troops moving into that region, and he still has not come to Congress for any kind of authorization for what is clearly not just a war, but the biggest military engagement we've had since the war in Afghanistan. This president is off the chain, and we are in a global crisis of his causing.
And first thing Monday morning, we have Russian oil being delivered into Cuba with President Trump's blessing. Now, as I've said with the end of my paid work about a month away, please bear with me while I do these information spotlight pieces when I can. And please do push that subscribe button and pass the link to the channel to anyone you think might like getting these briefs. With Ear on the White House, I'm Bob Costantini.